Hello, and welcome to the Steve and Mark Discuss podcast, where I, the youngster, listen to what the elder guy has to say about things and will respond accordingly. So, over to Steve.
Hi, people. So, here we go. As you can see from the background, I'm on location in a different ambience. But here we go. Let's crack on with the topic of this podcast. In one of another recent podcasts, Mark, you mentioned the fact that foreign entities are looking at the US to see what's going on, with the US government. And I think I mentioned at the time that's a topic for another discussion. And now we're about to have it, because to show you that the foreign entities don't need to look very hard, because all the information is being given to them by employees of the government. So here we go. I learned the other day that John Kerry, I think he's a senator, isn't he now?
Yeah.
John Kerry's a senator. He, in 2021, he sent over 200 communications to Iran,
All right.
warning them of possible attacks by Israel. So he's wanting to protect the Iranians for some reason. You have to follow the money to find out why. He's famous, of course. John Kerry is famous for he's now the climate change czar in the American government. Famous for flying around on private jets and using the excuse that, when you're a person of his caliber, you need to use a private jet to get around, to get the message out, which is a little bit counterproductive. But I suppose, if you're special like he is, then it's all
right? Yeah.
It's all good.
Okay.
Then, of course, we had Eric Swalwell, who I believe is a representative, and his girlfriend Fang Fang. I wonder where she's from. Oh, that's right, China. And I don't know if Fang Fang is the name. It sounds like the name of a panda, giant panda in the Chinese zoo, Fang Fang. And everybody's waiting for it to give birth or something like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Or it could be Chinese for goofy. It could be Chinese for goofy. Somebody who's goofy, Yeah. But he was giving her loads. She was passing a lot of information on to China and the Communist Party in China. Their pillow talk must have been, quite interesting. You've got the driver, Dianne Feinstein. Her driver for years. I think it was like 15 years. He was her driver. He was a spy for China too. And she just thinking he's a driver, she, from the back seat of the car, just explaining to him what's going through her mind and why she worried and he's getting all this right all down and sending it off to get a good inside view of what's happening in the US. And this latest one is a lady called Neja Ali, and she's a pro-Hamas radical.
Yeah.
And she's with the Department of Homeland Security.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Now, credit where credit's due. When the Department of Homeland Security found out that she's a pro-Hamas radical, she'd been put on leave.
Yeah.
But probably she'd been put on paid leave.
Right, yeah.
Oh, and we of course, we can't forget General Milley. General Milley, he was caught telephoning his counterpart in China, saying that the US is not going to attack, and if the US was to attack, he'd give them notice of the attack.
It's kind of in, yeah.
You know, so well, you know, I mean, if you're going to do an attack, the object is not to give notice that you're going to attack.
Well, normally,
You know,
yeah.
you can't say, you know, tomorrow we're going to attack you, because everybody's going to get prepared to combat the attack. All attacks are exactly that, an attack. It's a surprise. It's a
Well,
surprise.
yes, surprise attack, yeah. Yeah, okay.
You know, so you know, with all these people in and around the White House and the top secretaries, and that's what we know of. That's, you know, that's the ones that have come out in the press.
Yeah.
And there are, of course, those that are, you know, we don't know how many Oriental employees, should we say, in the US government are or aren't feeding information back to their homeland, or any other foreign national. When it comes to that, it might be that the US government might need to have to employ just American nationals, you know, to avoid all these leaks.
But what's an
You know,
American?
because as the wind blows, it changes, and you know, and the US finds itself. It was in Eastern Europe last week, and now it's in the Middle East this week. You know, and so you can't keep on having. Lord knows what's going on between. But well, we know what's going on between Biden and Zelensky, because in between the two is a consultancy firm that gets them the money that gets sent to Ukraine via lobbies.
Yeah.
And they take their 10% or 20%. And that's why when Biden wants to send money to Ukraine, it's always 100 billion here, 90 billion there. You know, and it's a lot of money. You know, and we don't know where the money goes to. There's an enormous sponge somewhere.
Well,
but either way, I think the US has got a big problem, in so much as that they're holier than a piece of Swiss cheese when it comes to keeping their information that might be considered in the national interest, national security interests, under wraps. But you know, there you go.
Well,
on to you.
Well, I mean, this thing about the if you like, the military or the US administration not being watertight, it's nothing new. In World War II, the British discovered the Enigma system used by the I'll go call Nazis, the Nazi regime. Okay, it's used by normal Germans. To say every German was a Nazi would be wrong. But they decided to keep it secret from the Americans, despite what the film said. Yeah, there was a film about it about 20 years ago, which was full of inaccuracies. Damn good film. I mean, yeah, good thriller, but full of inaccuracies. It was the British that discovered it and decided to keep it secret from the Americans. Yeah, because they knew that America was leaky. Yeah. The issue is, I mean, yeah, when you're talking about, you know, American nationals, you've got to think up the makeup of America, and has been for probably 200 years, as opposed to the, you know, British. I mean, when you're saying with the Americans, I mean, in World War II, after Pearl Harbor, they rounded up all the Japanese Americans and put them in an internment camp to keep control, keep an eye on them, which was, again, very, very bad, actually, when you think about it. But yeah, they were really, really worried then. They knew by that point in the war, or at that point, that they had a problem. It's a big country. I mean, yeah, it's got so many different departments and everything else. I mean, don't forget the UK. When it comes to spying, we've had our fair share of the Philbies, etc. The Blunts, was it the Blunts? Anthony Blunt and the Philbies. So yeah, we've had our spies, normally for Russia. As you
and
know.
Mr. Steele. Mr. Steele.
Yeah.
Mr. Steele was a spy.
Yeah.
But what should you do with spies?
Sorry?
What should you do with spies?
Well, apparently we deport them to the country they've been spying from. Yeah, it's treason.
But but I mean, yeah, there you go. That's exactly what I'm saying. You know, the people that have been spilling the beans are American.
Yeah. No, I was just talking.
Knowingly or unknowingly, have been giving information to the foreign countries.
Oh yeah, but wasn't Donald Trump colluding with Putin or something over something, according to the Clintons? So,
He's got a lot to answer for.
Donald Trump.
Hasn't he?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He just wanted to build a hotel in Moscow. I don't see anything wrong in that myself. A golf course possibly, but yeah. I mean, this isn't new. The spying game. I mean, people get paid heaps of money, wealth, or whatever else they're going to get to do it. Do people sell out easily? Would you and I sell out if somebody came to us and said, you're going to be comfortable for the rest of your life if you just just tell me this? The fact that you and I don't really know anything makes us quite useless anyway, fortunately. But it's a I really don't know what to make of it. I mean, the incredible thing is how open it all is. And like you say, these people, it's known in the public domain, they know them about, yet they're still in their positions.
That's a ridiculous thing.
Well, we know. They've gone and said sorry, or whatever else they've done. I don't think Millie has.
No, Millie says everybody does it.
Well, it's possible.
Millie, he said it's normal. Everybody does it.
Well, that's all right then. I mean, it's. I imagine the Israelis would be pretty peed off if somebody tells the secrets. I mean, the Israelis admittedly don't tell anyone what they're going to do.
Anything.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still surprised they got caught with an attack, actually, to be quite honest. But yeah, we'll find out in due course what happened there. Awful. But yeah. I mean, when we come to espionage, I mean, a lot of us have the perception, as like I say, as said many times, I like watching things from the 1970s, the 1980s, and early 90s. Actually, to be quite honest, these programs had all that's going on now in them. Life is imitating art. 20 years after the event. I mean, these things were known about. Yeah, I mean, it's and there have been times when they've known about these spies, and then sometimes they're feeding them fake information, and that's why they're allowed to continue. That was known to happen in World War II, if you read some of the things. And there's a lot of things from the WW2 that haven't actually been released officially because it's still current policy, how to use double agents and things like this. Yeah. Technology may change, human nature doesn't. Yeah. I mean, and possibly, they know it's probably getting more and more difficult to actually do any espionage in some ways because we've got everything online anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, who's to say? And who's to say somebody's not spreading information on podcasts like they used to do apparently with crosswords and things? Yeah. It's a whole interesting thing when you read about it. I've read some spy things again, even when you read a supposedly factual book about spying, you just don't know what you're reading. Yeah, I've read some things and I'll stop reading them because they're either so incredible they must be true, or they're so incredible we're meant to believe it, or it just makes it a good, although it's meant to be non-fiction, it makes a good story. Spies are a unique breed. I don't know why these I mean, to be quite honest, I look at a lot of these senators in the US and possibly some of our civil servants and politicians in the UK, and you just wonder how they got to their positions to begin with. Let's be honest about it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you can say that about any cross section of society. Yeah. And yeah, you do have to question people's loyalty. I mean, in the US at the moment, there does seem to be a problem with identity of people in the US. There is the idea of globalization, which I don't know how bought into the idea China are or aren't. Globalization seems to benefit a few countries and not very good for the many. Yeah.
I think China, Russia. I think the BRICS are wanting just to do their thing.
Yeah.
With the countries that want to join onto the BRICS.
Well, yeah.
And because I don't see much of the Belt and Road project from China going through the United States.
No.
It's all going down the other side, you know. It's all going down.
I mean, yeah, the Belt and Road is actually quite an incredible project, and makes a lot of sense in some ways, but it's a big risk to China financing it. Again, let's say out there in the open, the Chinese have made absolutely no secret of what they're up to. Yeah, with that's pure financial. Okay, we talk about domination. The fact that the world is going to, as I say, be bipolar, is no secret. The Chinese and others have not made that a secret. Yeah, but you're quite right. When it comes to military personnel, the trouble is with this whole military secrets and things is that people on the ground get killed. Servicemen get killed because of it.
Yeah, right.
Which is disgraceful, disgusting.
Does it say loose lips sink ships?
Well, yeah, we had a big thing in World War II. I mean, yeah, in World War II, I mean, the papers didn't always like to print lies, you know, to send things out. But then there were cases when they were scrutinizing what was being written in the newspapers and being said on the radio and everything to see what was going on, to check that nothing was going out. Or they would feed things to deliberately go out, you know, to confuse the enemy, as it were, with double agents and things. When you read about Garbo and agents like him, actually Garbo, he managed to get an Iron Cross from the Germans and some sort of award from the British as well. The only the only person ever to manage to get awards by two countries. Yeah. And again, when the Enigma first started to become interaction, and I'm changing the subject slightly here, the decision was made that some things, they weren't going to act upon every piece of information, even if it meant sacrificing things, because they didn't want the enemy to know that they were onto it. Yeah. Espionage is a very funny game. It's a very cold game. It's Cold Warrior. Putin is probably the ultimate Cold Warrior when it comes to that. He doesn't care if he kills his own people or other people's. Yeah, I mean, in the film, the crying, sorry, not the crying game, in the game, I can't remember it. The guy who plays Sherlock in the film, where he plays Alan Turing. Yeah, they made a point of this. They pretended that they all sat in an office where they're actually doing the code breaking and made the decision what to tell the higher ups or not. They didn't make that decision. That decision was made by the higher ups, quite literally. Who was going to die? Who was going to live? Yeah, they deliberately sacrificed ships because they didn't want the Germans to know that everything they know was being tracked. Yeah, it's again, let's change the subject. It's the same thing. Yeah. And again, they knew how to fit false information out to the enemy as well, which I thought at first when they said that Milley was doing this, I wondered if he was actually doing something like that, being a fake friend to them. And I must admit, that did come through my mind at first. Had the guy been misunderstood? It's a bit like Oliver North many years ago. What shenanigans he was up to? He was actually on probably the side of reality. Yeah.